From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is a college football update. I'm Jenny Carlson. Art Briles and the situation at Baylor continues to percolate after revelations that they had a player on their roster who was being tried for rape, for sexual assault. Barry Trammell joins us on the phone. And Barry, you wrote earlier this week that you think Art Briles will keep his job, but that this is really a touchstone moment for college football, the Ray Rice of college football. Why do you feel that way?
Well, I mean, I think Ray Rice just increased the nation's sports fans' sensibilities to violence against women. And Ray Rice wasn't anything new, but the shock of the video and the callousness of the NFL sort of changed everybody's viewpoint. And I think what we're going to see is some changing of viewpoints in college football, because we've got so many incidences over really decades of violence against women by these guys, and they get repeated chances. And I just think the horrific nature of what happened in Waco is going to, I think it's just going to be an eye-opener for everyone across college football.
Obviously some debate over who knew what, who told who what, but Sam Okonkwo comes onto campus and has to sit out, and then while sitting out commits sexual assault, is tried in court, found guilty. No Title IX charges, a much lower bar that would be held there, but instead found guilty in an actual courtroom. Barry, it seems like, we've seen locally teams, OU, OSU, take chances on guys who were transferring in. But you have to wonder, is there residual now? Do you expect OU and OSU to take a harder line stand on this? And is there any current situation that you think could have impact because of all this going on at Baylor?
Well, I mean, I do think both OU and OSU, and not really the football coaches, but the administrators, I think, are going to be more in tune with who the coaches are bringing in. And frankly, there's a little bit of a limb in Norman that the Sooners have climbed out on. Everybody wants to talk about Joe Mixon, but that's not really a relevant case in this situation. But Franklin Shannon is. I mean, Frank Shannon was not charged with sexual assault, but a Title IX investigative committee ruled that he was responsible for a sexual assault on campus. He was suspended for a year, and he's now back on the team. If Frank Shannon does something untoward, I don't know that everyone will come out of that unscathed in terms of their jobs. I mean, I think Bob Stoops would be in trouble. I think Clark Stroud, the vice president, who reduced the punishment from expulsion to suspension. I think even David Boren. I think all these people sort of their careers are sort of in Franklin Shannon's hands. So I think that's the status of where college football has become. Is I think the ability of players to impact the professionals in their careers is greater than ever before. So I'm glad it's their jobs on the line and not mine.
Lastly, Barry, we talked about Title IX a couple times, and obviously the federal law that helps to seek to protect people from sexual assault on campus, among other things. A federal law, as I mentioned. Is there any chance in your mind that the feds become involved with this in any way to try to set up a system where you don't have a player who was maybe looked at by a Title IX committee at another school able to transfer without knowledge being passed on? Is there any safeguard that whether it's the feds or college football, the NCAA, could set up to try to avoid something like this in the future?
Oh, I think there's a lot of talk about that. Politicians like to get involved. At the end of the day, they don't really want to. They don't want to go through the effort of getting legislation that might be effective and might not, and might be heavy-handed and might not. I think you're going to hear a lot of noise about that. I personally think this will be it'll be a self-policed. I think coaches and presidents and administrators, they all want to win football games, but they want to keep their jobs even more. So I think when it reaches the point where jobs are on the line with player behavior, you're going to see a change in player behavior. So I actually think that's why I think the Baylor case is a changing of the landscape. I think you'll see more responsibility on the part of the institutions.
We'll continue to follow this in the Oklahoman and on News OK. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.